I am jamming to the tunes and welcoming you back. That's not easy to say. I am welcoming you back to the IRS. I had to say it again.
Wow, chaos!
To the IRS Radio Hour. I am your host. I am attorney Stephen Leahy. And I am joined here today with my co-host, Jim Leahy.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I keep forgetting about this segment, about how we have a little introduction.
We do. My favorite song.
It's the blog segment. The blog. The blog. That's right. Little Perry Mason.
I haven't watched Me TV for some time, but I did watch a whole episode of Rockford Files the other night. It's kind of a funny one. But anyway, today I wanted to talk about using your home to get out of IRS debt. Remember, there's 6 things you can do if you owe the IRS money, and the first thing is you could pay them. Now, how are you going to come up with the money to pay him? That's the hard one. That's when people I say that to people. Well, if I had the money, I wouldn't come to see you. Well, that's true.
That's the head scratcher.
But we could get you the money. How can we get you? Sometimes you have to tap in your equity. I always tell people, even if you have to borrow it from somebody, borrow it. Get it out of the IRS's hands, because the IRS is.
Should I borrow it from loan sharks?
No. That's almost worse. The only people worse than the IRS is loan sharks. Why? Because they can break your legs. Okay, they can't go after your wages or anything, but they can break your legs. So that's not a good thing.
I need my legs.
And I hate to make light of that, since I have clients who have gone to loan sharks and are facing big problems because of it. And we're trying to find a way for him to get out too. But not an easy thing. But so I don't want to make light of that. But I also wanted to. Again, the first thing you do is pay him. So if I don't have the money in the bank to pay him, well, then how can? And I have now with the housing market's going back up, and so people for some years now haven't had a lot of equity in their home, so there's never been really an option to go borrow money from my home and refinance. But now it's becoming an option again because the values are going back up and people are starting to have equity again. And so if I need to pay the IRS, maybe I can go. And we've talked about it on the show before, and also I've talked about it on Home Sweet Home Chicago with David Hochberg. He does financing, right? Pearl Mortgage, and we've helped the same kind. We've had mutual clients, and I've helped them overcome this IRS problem. So there's 2 real problems when it comes to trying to borrow money from the IRS. From your home, if you have an IRS problem. First is if you're going to get a refinance and the IRS already has a lien against you, well, they're first. In real estate law, they call it first in time, first in right, which means whoever had their lien filed first, they get the first crack at it. And so usually people already have a mortgage and then the IRS files a lien. So the first mortgage is in front of the IRS. But if I refinance, the first mortgage is gone and I get a new mortgage, now the IRS lien moves up. And so the mortgage would be behind the IRS. And that means that the mortgage company won't like that and they won't want to give you a loan because the IRS could take the money first. They want to be first. Now, there's things you can do if that happens to you, right? You can, what they call subordination. First, let's talk about what you can get a payoff. So you can call the IRS, work with us. First off, if they're coming after you and you're trying to refinance, they're coming after you. So you have to stop them from coming after you. So you have to work with the IRS, and that's why sometimes you need a lawyer to do this. And because you need the time to let you get this accomplished, to refinance, because it takes some time. So the first thing you can do is you can just get a payoff, and it's going to pay off the IRS.
Payoff? Are you talking payoffs?
and so if you get it from the IRS, just like you would from your mortgage company, when you go close at any loan, anybody who has a lien on it, you have to have a payoff. You have to have condo documents and all this other stuff to in order for the title insurance to give you to insure it over it. And so if you come up with the payoff with the IRS and it's going to pay off, it'll pay the IRS in full. Well, then that lien will be extinguished, and your refinance mortgage company will be first.
Whoa. Let's take a step back here. Okay. Is there any way that I can get this information, the 6 things that I can do?
Because this is the blog segment, it's on my blog. So if you go to chicagotaxteam.com, there is a box on the front page that says recent most recent blog posts, and you can find it there. Or up on the top, there's also one that says blog. So point on there. It's the most recent one. And you can read about it. Or you can call me at 312-664-6649, and I'll be happy to answer the question for you.
Go over again and answer the question.
That's right. Or remember how they can chat, because the chat box will come up and you can chat.
Of course. I just, you just have been going on a little bit here. And I kind of lost
I wanted to mention,
bit.
because Debbie brought up a great idea last week about
last year.
She did last year too. I'm sure she had a good idea last year.
I had the idea last year. I waited until last week to tell you about it.
You know which one?
Delayed idea.
You know which one I'm talking about, Debbie? About the telephone number, the hotline?
Yes, for people to call in with questions.
And here's the question: 312-262-5614. And you call that number, 312-262-5614. And there'll be a hotline set up.
Can you say it one more time?
312-262-5614. And that'll go to the hotline, and you can leave a recorded message, and I'll get it. It'll email it to me, and I will listen to the question, and we'll put it on the air. Or
we could put the live audio on the air if you'd like. Just specify if you'd like it on there or not. Because sometimes it'd be a little bit, you could hear your voice on the radio. How cool would that be?
That'd be pretty cool.
You could be like, "Hi, Mom." Hi.
I got to tell you, I listen to my own voice on the radio every Sunday at 5 o'clock.
And I'll tell you what, I don't.
The Answer.
I don't. I've lived this, baby.
But I do. I listen to the show every week. I wouldn't miss it for the world. As my sister Corinne would not miss this show for the world.
That's
God bless you, Cor. Okay, so let me hurry this along now, because we're going to run out of time. The second thing you do, if your refinance won't pay the IRS in full, but will pay a substantial amount, then the IRS sometimes will agree to what they call subordinate their loan. And a subordination is when they agree to take a second position, even though they're first in time, they'll agree to be second in right. Okay, so kind of. So then that
both
way
parties agree.
The mortgage company will say, okay, well, as long as we're first, we'll give you the loan. But here's the problem when I have a lien against me. My credit score will take a huge hit. It'll be, I think they take a hit, they say between 80 and 100 points and that means I'm not going to qualify for a loan, because my credit score
One of them
stinks.
had a perfect score.
What do you mean one of them?
Like I'm at 800.
Well, then you're at 700. Then you probably can. But
so I don't have to worry then.
But most people aren't going to be at 800 who are having financial issues, and they're not going to be. So even if you had a great score at 750, now all of a sudden I'm at 650. Now you can get a loan, but you're going to get a lot better rate at 750 than you're going to get at 650. You're going to get a better rate from your mortgage company and make it more likely that you can do a refinance to get out of this problem. Okay, so we talked about this before, about the Fresh Start Initiative. And one of the Fresh Start Initiative programs is this withdrawal of the lien. So now you can work out with the IRS, where not only will they release the lien, which means I don't have a lien on my house anymore and I can refinance and my mortgage company will be first, but they will withdraw the lien. And the withdrawal of the lien means not only will they release it, but they'll take it off of my credit score like it never existed.
That's awesome.
Yes. But you have to go through the program and follow the rules and all that. And we do this. And this was, I mentioned David Hochberg. We had the client, the mutual client that we helped do this. He was from Rockford, and it did take some time, but we got him to withdraw the lien. His credit score jumped almost 100 points, made it eligible for this loan. He got the refinance, got enough money, and also actually paid the IRS off. And but he couldn't just do a payoff, because that wouldn't have brought his credit score back. So he had to do a withdraw to get his credit score up, so he can get the money. So it gets complicated.
It's a process.
Yeah, it gets complicated.
There's a lot of.
So anyway, this is important, and one of the ways to get out is to pay them, and this is one way we can find to let you pay them and get out from under the IRS, and that's important.
And if the IRS is coming after you, ladies and gentlemen, remember, there's no point of going to a large outfit. Why, talk to somebody on the phone when you could look somebody eye to eye, somebody local, somebody Chicago, And there's nobody more Chicago than this guy,
That's
Stephen A.
absolutely
Leahy, and the law office of, Opem Tax Resolutions.
And the law office of Stephen A.
And the
Leahy.
law office.
That's right.
At 312-664-6649. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the blog is also on ChicagoTaxTeam.com. So take a visit over there, and you can reread what we just went over. Now, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned, because after the commercial break, we're going right in the IRS segment. So stay tuned on AM560 The Answer.